Hi everyone, Christopher Wiley from the video production, and today we're going to be interviewing Tom McDonough.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, how are you?
I'm doing real good today, feeling real good, real positive, and I'm really glad to be able to do this. I really am. So, there's a saying in recovery. It's good to give back. It really is. It's good to give back. So,
Is that why you started working in the Lions Club?
yeah, that was part of it because I wanted to give back. Service. Getting out of oneself is huge. And people who are addicted in addictions, they're trapped inside themselves. It's all about them and the next high or the next drunk. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Getting whatever they need to solve their issues, whether it be drugs or alcohol. You know what I mean? So they're always stuck inside themselves. So being a part of service gets me outside of myself. So I love it. I really do. I love it. Cool stuff. Really cool stuff.
And today I'm going to be asking you a few questions about your recovery from alcohol,
Cool. All right.
starting with your personal story. What is your personal story of recovery and how'd you do it?
Yeah. I started partying at a young age, probably like 13 years old, and right from the very start, man, it was off to the races. I couldn't get enough of anything. And in hindsight, I should have known I had a problem because the other kids were able to pick it up and put it down, and I couldn't put it down. You know what I mean?
Was that the start of your addiction?
Yep, that was the start of my addiction. Yep. Yeah, so we're talking, man, back in 1973, a long time ago. Yep. So, yep. And my story starts. It actually starts. I remember alcohol. My first drink of alcohol. I split a quart of Schlitz beer with somebody, and it was like, wow, man. I was like, I have arrived. Oh, wow. It was so awesome, the feeling. And but basically, my problem, I became an alcoholic through problems with drugs. And I using drugs and alcohol was came into play with the use of methamphetamines. I got pretty hooked into methamphetamines, using them on quite a regular basis. Yeah, so that and cocaine, and of course I smoked pot every day. I love smoking pot. It was every day, 2, 3, 4 times a day. You know what I mean?
You still do it, or was this before?
No. I'm 27 years in recovery. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. God has truly blessed me.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, January 16th, 1996 was when I finally got sober. Yep. So it was a really cool thing. It really was, and it took a lot for me to get there. A lot. I mean, I burned a lot of bridges, hurt a lot of people. 2 divorces, I lost 2 houses, multiple cars, practically ruined, 3 kids or 4 kids' lives. But I finally got it. And when I finally got it is when I decided that I wanted it for me. Not to save a marriage or not to, for anybody else, but that I wanted
Just
it
for your own personal health?
my own personal health, that I actually wanted it. And that was a true God moment, I'll tell you, man. It was a spiritual awakening that I had. And I like to say that a power a lot greater than myself, pulled me from the other side. You know what I mean? Because up until that point, I couldn't care less, whether I lived or died. I was too chicken to take my own life, but I could drink or drug myself to death easily. And that's what I was doing. My liver enzyme levels were like 5 times the normal level. It was a miracle that that I'm healthy today. And that what do you call it, the neurons in my brain work. You know what I mean? I can even form a sentence after all the stuff I did. It's a true miracle. It really is a true miracle. I'm very, very fortunate. So that's, I want to try and give back, and I've been giving back for years. Thank God. And I continue to go to meetings. I have a home group I'm involved with, and I try to go every Friday at that home group. If I can make another meeting or 2 a week, I try to do that. I think it's important to stay in recovery and stay in touch with my peeps, man. You know what I mean? I gotta keep that network, of people in recovery. You know, I was talking with Dan outside, and I said, it's this disease is so powerful. There's a saying that the disease is doing push-ups in the parking lot, waiting for you. I mean, that's how strong it is, man. It's just like it's so powerful. There's in Alcoholics Anonymous. There's in how it works. It says that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it is. It's cunning, it's baffling, and it's powerful, and it's unbelievable how hard it was for me to kick it and stay clean and sober.
But you still managed to stay through.
Yep, I do, and the odds are slim. When you came in, and they told me that. They said, Tom, you got to get serious, because I was joking around, and the first time I came in, it was to save a marriage and not to save myself. They said, you better get serious, because with alcohol, and with alcohol in particular, like maybe 1 in 10 people make it. And with drugs, it's less than that. The percentages are pretty low. But if you're serious, about your recovery, and you work your program to the best ability, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. You're gonna be all right. But you gotta work it, man. You gotta want it, and you gotta work it. You really do. And for me, that in the beginning, that meant doing 90 meetings in 90 days, and I actually probably did 180 meetings. You know what I mean? I went to a meeting every day because I had to. I had to. I needed to surround myself with people in recovery, and it's the only way I made it, because in the beginning I thought I could do it on my own, and I couldn't. I needed much more help than just me. And I went to an outpatient rehab center too, and that helped me tremendously too. I was there for 17 months, and that group and that bond that I have, and just amazing. It really is. And I celebrate recovery with 3 other guys that I met from back then. We're 3 amigos, and one of them, God bless his Cowboy Bill, he passed away, and but for medical reasons, not from, he was clean and sober at the time, but he had some serious health issues, and it was sad. But Mike and myself are still around, thank God. You know what I mean? So to prove that that, and he's got more time than I do. So, but it does work. It works if you work it. So it works if you work it. So.
Well, what does your recovery mean to you? Like, does it hold any values to you?
It does. It actually, my recovery date, or my sobriety date, to me is much more important than my birth date. It's a big deal. It really is. I make sure that I go to my home group that Friday, and I get a coin from them that has the years on it. So I have a coin. I actually sitting on my dresser at home. It says 27 years on it. It's Roman numerals. And it's a big deal to me to have that coin, that chip. And my recovery is it's really important to me. It really is. And it's not just important to me, but it's important to everybody around me. The relationships that I have now, with my family, my ex-wives, everybody, I've developed respect from people now, and back when I was drinking and drugging, you don't get respect, people are like, they blow you off is what they do. They put up with you at the most, And when I came in the recovery program, they said, Tom, just keep coming back. And I looked at them like, that's weird. I don't know, too many people wanted me to keep coming back, so they wanted me to go away and stay away, and because back then I was part of the problem and not part of the solution. Now I'm able to be part of the solution instead of part of the problem, and it's a beautiful thing. People, come to me for advice and for help, and I hold positions of power, and that I would never, and I'm going to say positions of power, but I hold positions that I never would have dreamed of holding before, and the sky's the limit, and it really is, because I'm clean and sober, and I have the respect of others now, which I didn't have before, so I'm grateful, and I have an attitude of gratitude, and that's what keeps me going, an attitude of gratitude, yep, so. Anyway, I like to say on my worst day, I wake up. You know what I mean? I say, at the very least, at the very very least, I don't think about a drink or a drug today. At the very least, and that is a beautiful thing. Some days, if things are okay, they're awesome. You know what I mean? If they're just okay, they're awesome, because I'm clean and sober. And I feel good every day. I mean, on my worst day, all I gotta do is take a couple ibuprofen, and I'm good to go. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. So, in fact, I won't take any other meds unless I absolutely positively have to. And if I do take any other meds, I have somebody, keep an eye on them for me, just to make sure, to back me up, just to, not that I'm, afraid, but I just, I'm, what do you call it? I have a healthy fear. Let's just say that, healthy fear. Yep. So, anyway, that's why I keep coming back and working my program to the best of my ability. So, and stuff around me. They said a gentleman said a long time ago when I first came in. He goes, "Tom, things around you may not be okay, but if you work your program to the best of your ability, you're going to be okay. Can't promise you about what's going on around you." And in 27 years, I've seen crazy stuff go on around me, man. Just things have been absolutely insane, like, tragedy and a lot of crazy things that have happened. And when I've been able to stay the course through it all, and never once did I think about picking up a drink or a drug. You know what I mean? It's a miracle. It really is. A lot of people would use that as an excuse to go pick up. And thank God, you know what I mean, that I have the tools in my tool chest, you know what I mean, that I picked up from the recovery programs, and to help me to get through situations, because life is crazy, and there's a situation in my life right now that's probably going to get worse before it gets better. You know what I mean? It's inevitable. It's a real bad situation, and I'm able to, what do you call it, to stay the course. You know what I mean? And just try and stay focused on what's going on right now, what I have in front of me, all the tasks I have in front of me, and not let things consume me. But these things used to consume me and really bother me, Like even an Eagles game lost, you know what I mean? I'd be going the next day to work, and I'd be all depressed and pissed off, and and all up in my head,
And you just learn to just keep a healthy head about it.
I do, yeah. It's how important is it really? Yep. In certain situations, you have to pick your battles too. You know what I mean? I like the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are so many things that are out of my control. And I'm just so grateful that now I can step back and take a deep breath and all, and sometimes that means just walking away and just not reacting at all, until you're calm and you're cool. Because there's sometimes in my job and, in life and all, you just want to look at them and say, did those words just come out of your mouth? You know what I mean? You're just like, and that's politely saying it, you know what I mean? And so I've learned really, you know what I mean? And nowadays there's an old saying, restraint of tongue and pen. Now it's tongue, pen, and keyboard. You know what I mean? With the texting.
Modern.
Yeah, man. With the keyboard or the texting, man, you got to be careful, because you can't take that back. You know what I mean? You can't. And words can be very hurtful, very hurtful. And that's one of the things I made a big mistake. I was a nice guy when I was out there. I wasn't a bad guy. I was more of a lover than I was a fighter. Even though I got in a few fights. But I would do really stupid things and hurtful things and say hurtful things, and not, a lot of times not even realize it because I was in a blackout. I didn't realize, sure as heck didn't realize the extent of it and what I did until I was told later. And so I'm grateful now. I don't have to wake up and say, oh my God, what did I do last night? Or go outside and look where the car is and look around the car to see if there's any dents or, God forbid, something worse, and because somebody said, how often did you drink? And I said, well, or how often did you drink during the course of a year? I said, well, how many days in a year is there? 365. I said maybe I was down for 2 or 3 of them, but every other one. That's only because I was probably violently ill, because of my disease, as a contributing factor of my disease. Because that's freaking what I did. I would go on binges, and it would start, with early on. It would start like Thursday, and I would start partying and using, and I would drink at the same time, and I wouldn't stop until Sunday, actually Monday morning. And I missed a lot of Mondays at work, a lot of Mondays. Yep. So, and then my system was so torn up that I would stop for a couple of days, and then I felt good on Wednesday or Thursday, man. It was back to it again, man. It was like, man, I'm ready to go again, man, and start up all over again. And it takes a toll on you. And then when I got away, even when I get away from the drugs, drinking was an every single day thing, every single day. I was able to not drink and go to work on my main job, but I wasn't there, man. I was like, I was so hungover, you know what I mean? And, especially on the Mondays and the Fridays. Oh, man. Yeah, it was rough. It really was. But it's so cool now to just be clear-headed, to wake up and, just feel really good, and actually be able to get out of bed, you know what I mean, and jump out of bed, not, crawl out of bed. So cool stuff. It really is. I'm grateful, really grateful.
Also, earlier you were talking about your work and your programs.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Daniel, he was telling me yesterday about some, like, your background and how you work in the Lions Club.
Yes. I've actually been very fortunate. I've been the president of the Claymont Club, actually twice now. Yep. So, and I've actually worked at the district level too. I was a zone chairperson, and I got a taste to see what the district level was like, and I would like to someday maybe have aspirations. And I've been asked many times by a lot of past district governors if I would run for district governor, and I would love to do it. I can't at this time because I got so much on my plate as it is. So, but I'm real active with the Lions. I'm on the tree committee. So we sell Christmas trees every year. I work with the pancakes. I work the White Canes days. It's incredible. I also am getting ready to. I got more responsibility with my parish. I run the St. Helena's Carnival gates, and now I'm running security too on top of that. So when I get out of here, I gotta call Monsignor Russell over there at St. Helena's, and I gotta talk to him about some stuff with security matters, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'm really active in the community, and I really do it. I'm also on the board of 2 other organizations too. I'm a vice president of another community center, and also in another organization, EB 100. So I'm just really cool. It really is cool stuff. You know what I mean? And I thoroughly enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy being out there in the community and trying to make a difference, trying to help. So especially the board I'm on of the Knollwood Community Center. It's a community. I'm sure you know of it. It's got a lot of troubles. Very similar to Edgemore Gardens, and it's got a lot of problems. And I'm really hoping that I can make a difference. It's my 4th or 5th year on that, in the community center board, and I'm hoping that we can make a difference. And we got some good ideas, and we got some good stuff in the works and all. And so we shall see. And I love being a part of this community center too. I'm not actually on the board besides the Planet Youth Coalition. I'm involved with that here. I'm on the board of that. So I love keeping busy. I love being service is part of my life. It really is, and I love it. I really do. I don't think I'll ever run for office. So going to politics, nah. I don't think I could do that. So that's I got to draw the line. Nothing against politicians. I love politicians. I rely on them to help me out with a lot of stuff that I do. Yep. So all right.
I also have sort of like a final question for you.
Sure.
What is your message for young teens who are either starting or already on the path of addiction? Speaking as a former addict.
I would put it down. Stop. Don't do it. Don't do it. And there's, for instance, a lot of people say, they talk about just smoking weed. And I said, I smoked weed back in the day. Nowadays, man, the THC content in weed is like off the charts, man. And there are studies out there, what do you call it, that show like psychotic episodes, And if I smoked the amount of weed today that I smoked back then, man, I would be unable to function, But they say that weed is not a gateway drug, and I disagree wholeheartedly. I have to have complete abstinence in my life because I don't know if I pick up one, if it's not going to lead to me picking up another. And I started smoking weed and drinking, and next thing you know, I'm doing cocaine and crystal meth out the wazoo, And next thing you know, I'm washing down a gallon and a half of vodka, on a binge. You know what I mean? Just to keep myself from coming out of my skin because I got so much crystal meth in me. I'm telling you, don't. Get away from it. Find a hobby. Maybe get into sports or or drama, anything. I mean, something in your life.
Like to just distract you from
it.
Just take your mind off of it.
Exactly. Yep. Go and do service work. Yep. So, like the Leos are a great opportunity. The Lions clubs, there's Leo clubs. They have one here. Oh my God, what a great opportunity! Service, get out there, and help others. It's just, sometimes the idle mind and idle hands are dangerous. And I had too much of that when I was a kid. Too much idle time. So. And it's scary, and it's amazing how fast things can take off and go wrong, like really quickly. So, please, I beg of you, stay away from it. Don't do it. And if you think it's just innocent thing, no, it's not. It's not. Think it over. Just smoking weed is can hold you back. It can, and it can dull your senses, you know what I mean? It can, make you lazy, And that's what it did with me. It really, really, I know that I became an absolute underachiever, when I smoked weed. I just wish to God that, that I had taken a different path, you know what I mean? And it's so easy to do, to take a different path, you know what I mean? I could have stayed playing sports, or there's a ton of things I could have done, So, anyway. Got into radio, so they had a radio station in my high school, and I would have loved to have gotten into that, but I was too busy doing other stuff, So.
Like when you start using and getting into that addiction, it ruins any potential that you have for, especially when you're young, starting young and doing it, it ruins any potential, and it just kind of puts a harness on you almost.
Absolutely. It really does. It holds you back. It truly does. Yeah. It really, really, really throws a wrench into the works. It really did. It held me back big time. It really did. I'm trying to think of the perfect word, and of course it's not coming to my mind, but yeah, it just, it got to the point where I was content and loved just being high, and it was just it's nowhere. I was just sitting there. I was a loser, and I thought I was a winner at the time, and I ran with people that were the same as me, so I didn't feel like a loser. You know what I mean? So, and if you didn't party like I did, then I really didn't want to have anything to do with you. So I wanted to party with people that party like I did, so I would feel normal. So yep. So anyway, and I always like the adrenaline rush, the edge. I mean, and it's not the way to get it. It's just not the way to get it. So Anyway.
The adrenaline's just not worth it.
It's not at all. It's not worth it at all. Yeah, it's just and the chances you take. Just you do stupid things. So the fact that I'm even alive is an absolute miracle. I've been involved in 4 serious car wrecks. and walked away without a scratch. And it's a miracle. It's a miracle nobody else was killed, too, in the wrecks. A woman was seriously injured in one of the wrecks I was involved in. It wasn't my fault, and I walked away without even a ticket. And I was under the influence at the time. So it's just, it's unbelievable how scary it is. And all the times I drove home from somewhere in a complete blackout. Because every night I drank until I passed out, every night. Until I was so tired, I just like fell down on the bed, and in a drunken sleep, So, but that was the story of my life, Just, as soon as I got off of work, bam. Couldn't wait to hit the half pint that was under the seat of the car, So it's sad. It really is. It really is sad. And it's actually good for me every once in a while to go back and relive that in my head to see, how bad it really was, remember how bad it was, because I don't ever want to get complacent. And I've seen people get complacent, and I've seen people go back out again and not make it. In my 27 years, buried a lot of people, that didn't make it, And a sponsee I buried, it's sad, really sad. So when you see that body bag being zipped shut, brings it home, real real. So, and I said to myself that time when they zipped Roy up, and I just said, you know what, this cannot be in vain, man. I got to remember this, You got to remember, that, how dangerous this disease is, and how that could be me, There but by the grace of God go I, So I'm very fortunate, I really am. I had a sponsor, he passed away. And he said, Tom, you got to have an attitude of gratitude. He says, you have to, Just keep that gratitude list, He says, even if you don't have a pen and paper, think about it in your head. Just something you're grateful for. Hey, I got a roof over my head. I got a car that runs, I got, I eat every day, and I have meals every day. I'm able to get the bills paid. I don't have any money, but I'm able to get the bills paid, So somehow things are working out, Even when on my worst day, things come together somehow, by the grace of God. I like to say by the grace of God and the fellowship of the program, That's why I'm sober today. So very grateful. Got that attitude of gratitude. So, yep. So
That was really moving.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
moving
you.
talk.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. I really do. Glad I can share. Glad to share. Yep.
It's nice talking to you.
Awesome talking. Thank you for interviewing me. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Whenever you get the chance to give back, I like to do it. So, it's a good thing. It really is a good thing. So, cool.
And your words for the younger generation, they were good.
Cool. I hope you listen. You got to listen. I didn't listen. Please listen.
Stop this from happening.
What's that? Pardon me?
Stop this from happening.
Yep. So, cool stuff. Yep. So, and that was one of the other things I had to be, willing to listen. And that was one of the hugest hurdles I had to get over. That and honesty. I couldn't get honest with myself, and that's why I kept going back out again, even when I wanted to get sober. But you have to be willing. You have to be willing to listen and take direction. Yep. And finally, I what somebody said, Tom, you have to realize that you're not driving the bus. I said, that's right, man. Somebody else is. Somebody else is in control. No, there is a God, and I ain't it. So anyway,
this was a good podcast.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate that. Cool. Awesome. Thank you much. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so very much.